3, 2, 1, here we go. It's Pam, and you're listening to Living Fit. You might be listening on a podcast, or you might be watching on the YouTubes, or maybe on the socials. I'm not really sure. Either way, I'm super happy that you're here. I want to talk really quickly today about habits. Today was a really funky day for me. I had something totally different planned for this podcast, but here we are, and I thought I'm just going to jump on right after I get done doing my workout. I am in my office where most of my workouts happen, where all of my recording workouts happen, most of them, and this is where I do my most thinking. So, I want to talk about habits. When we are exhausted, our default will always go back to our habits. So this is why it's super vital for us to build and maintain healthy habits. How do we do that? There's a number of ways, but first let me tell you what a habit actually is. So I'm going to tell you the definition here on the laptop. A habit is, by definition, a settled or a regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. So we want to make our habits good because they're hard to give up. A habit for mine that is not so healthy is drinking coffee. We don't have to go into that, but that's one thing that I try to change. I've recently tried to change how soon I drink coffee in the morning because I was watching something about waiting 90 minutes till you drink coffee. I haven't quite made that yet, but I made it to about the 45-minute mark, and I don't know if it helps or not, but anyway. So our habits, we're always going to fall back when we're exhausted. So we can be mentally tough and we can be strong and we can go into Monday and say, okay, I'm going to follow this plan, or I'm going to follow this workout. I'm going to hit the gym 5 days a week, and we can have that mindset on Sunday. We can meal prep all of our meals. But when we get tired and when we get exhausted, mentally or physically, we will always go back to our default habits that are there, especially one that is hard to give up. I need you to pay attention to that on the definition, especially ones that are hard to give up. So we have to really stay strong when we're exhausted and or have those healthy habits put in place. So what I like to do to help clients develop healthier habits. Number one, we can always talk about finding our why. So, of course, you're going to say, okay, well, I want to lose X, Y, and Z weight. That's my why. Okay, that's fine. That's a goal, but that's not really a why. How is losing that weight going to change your life? How is it going to make you better? How is it going to make you a better person, a better human, to your community, to society, to your family, to your friends? Maybe if you are a grandparent, maybe losing weight and getting stronger will allow you to participate in more activities with your children. Maybe if you're a married couple and you're struggling, and losing weight, getting in better shape is going to allow you to feel more confident to be intimate. That is a big deal that not a lot of people talk about. That could be a very strong why. So your whys have to be really strong in order to develop and maintain habits that stick, because again, when we're tired, we always go back to our default. So our whys have to be really, really strong. So first, I try to help people find their why. Why are you doing this? What is the exact motive? Not to fit in a wedding dress, not to do any of these short-term things. Those are fine. I don't have a problem with that. But the ultimate end, why? And then we start one by one. A lot of people have names, and they'll say habit stacking. This is habit stacking. And then they'll quote that or whatever. I don't think everything has to have a name. People have been doing this for a long, long time. Develop one habit and then the next habit, and it's a good snowball effect, right? So you can say habit stacking, do one habit and then the next and the next. So that just means start slow. That just means don't start a workout program and a diet program and try to go to bed earlier and all these things all at once. It's just not going to stick, because when you're tired in the middle of the week or the middle of the month or the middle of a 6-week program and you did all these things and you made all these promises, one thing you're going to fail at, and then the next thing you'll be like, well, forget it, I'll just start back over. And I don't want you to do that. So first find your why, and then you're going to implement one habit at a time. And how do we do that? One habit at a time, we're going to try to attach that to something we're already doing. So let's say you want to drink more water. It's always something that I always have to go back to. I'm like, oh, I can tell I'm dehydrated, because a habit that I have is drinking a lot of coffee. And I just love coffee. I love caffeine. It's my favorite drug, I guess you could say. But in the morning, I always have a bottle of water with my electrolyte drink, your electrolyte drink of choice you can use, or no electrolyte at all. I just happen to like the orange flavor, with a vitamin in it, because that's what I like to do. I have it by my coffee maker, and I make sure I drink that in the morning. That is already attached to me making coffee. It's already attached to a habit. So I'm already getting 16 to 20 ounces of water each day before I have my coffee. So you can see we can attach a healthy habit into something that we're already doing. Same thing goes to what I advise anybody who's first starting their workouts and their workout routines, especially if you're new, but also if you're getting back, is to have your workout clothes. If it's ready for you in the morning, or ready in your gym bag to take with you to work the next day if you're working out after you get out of your job. So for me, I have my workout shorts, my tennis shoes, my socks, everything already in the bathroom in the morning. I have everything picked. Actually, I have it like a little stack of clothes under the counter in the bathroom, under the sink in the bathroom, because I put those on immediately. Use the bathroom, put my workout clothes on, because otherwise I'm tempted to stay in my robe. So I put my robe back on when I come downstairs to drink my water and make my coffee, but I already have my workout clothes on. So it already tells my body, my brain, that I'm going downstairs to work out. So those are just little things. So I attached putting my workout clothes on with me waking up. I attached my water to me drinking coffee. And I have devotions and journals that I like to do in the morning. So I have those either set out by my coffee, or I have them set in my office where I know I'm going to sit down and drink coffee. Because a bad habit of mine is opening up my phone first thing, and then my brain gets lost into social media or answering emails or what have you. So if I make sure that I have my phone away, and I have my journal and my book that I want to read, because a habit of mine that I really need to be better at is reading, then I know that I'll do that first. Because if I don't, my tired default is going to go into my emails and my social media, because it's much more fun for me to do that first, and then I'll just forget about the thing that I'm trying to work on. So I hope that makes sense. So, you're always going to go back to your default. So attach your new habit that you want to something that you're already doing. I really wanted to kind of talk about those habits and really how important they are. And I don't know, I can't give you a exact number or days or whatever that's going to take you to build those habits. Some people say 21 days. I really like the concept of a 12-week year. And that's a book. I don't know who it's by. I've actually never read the book. I've actually read pieces of the book through different sources. But I really do implement that in my own life and my clients' lives as well, when I'm trying to help them implement their whys and their habits and all of those things, is to look at everything in 12 weeks, 6 to 12 weeks really, time frame. So say, okay, so I really have to be mentally tough to put on my workout clothes in the morning when I really want to just stay in my warm, comfy jammies and my robe. But I know that this is going to help me get to my ultimate goal. And this is a habit that I'm going to need really for the rest of my life. Because I always say, health and wellness, they're not linear, but you're always going to have to work at some level. So if we have those healthy habits put in place, we're already going to go to them by default. Because again, the habit is a tendency or practice that's hard to give up. So for me today, what prompted this video and this podcast was I had something else I had planned. I had an interview that I'm very excited to do, that I still will do, with a really good friend, a very smart guy. But I was just not having a great day, and I just really felt yucky. But my entire default is to get on my treadmill. My entire default is to put in my headphones and push anyway. So that's my habit that I've built over the past 25 years. So I don't have to be mentally tough to get on the treadmill. Somebody else might have to be mentally tough to get on the treadmill. I have to be mentally tough to read my book and relax, because those aren't my default. So those are things that I'm working on. But I really wanted to talk about that today, just to kind of share with you that we all have to go back and to our habits, and we all have to have those habits put in place. And of course, like I said, it's never linear and it's never going to be perfect. But when we're tired and when we're exhausted and when when our goals seem too big, maybe they're beyond that 6 or 12 week mark, or maybe we're just feeling really defeated that day, it's just really important to have those habits already put in place and just go by default, and just really not have to think about the things that we're doing. And I really wanted to touch on that mentally tough part too. I was listening to an interview the other day with a doctor. She was interviewing somebody else, and an athletic coach, and it really made a lot of sense to me. And he said, you're not mentally tough. An athlete isn't mentally tough to do their workouts, because as an athlete, that's your default. You love to do that. It's not hard for me to make sure that I work out, because I love to work out. That's very apparent. I've built my entire life off of loving to work out and loving to feel good and loving to teach other people that they can do it too. What's hard for me is to relax and to, like I said, to read the book and to put the phone down and to just shut everything off. That's hard for me. That's not my default. So I have to be mentally tough enough on days to say, my worth isn't in my productivity. And I heard a friend, Kelly, I'll give her this credit. She reminded me of this because I've heard this before. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm so much like that. Is I grew up, and much of us did, in a way that our worth was often defined by our productivity, and just meaning that, obviously if we're working, we're succeeding at things, all that kind of thing, where I had to learn to relax and say, you know what, it's okay if I don't get everything done today. I can still feel really good about myself if I didn't get all of my check marks done or if I kind of missed the mark today. So those are, that's something that I have to be kind of mentally tough about, is to say it's okay. So don't feel bad if your mental toughness is in, I have to really push myself to work out. That's okay, because you're going to be really good at things that I should be good at, that I suck at. But it's just showing up and showing up for yourself and starting to implement those habits. And it will be painful. It will not be comfortable any time, because we want to fall back into our default, which is going to be our habits. And that's what this whole episode is about. So anyway, I just wanted to get on and encourage you guys today to make sure that this is a time sensitive episode, I guess. If you're listening to this later, this is the beginning of February 2023. And this is the time when some of those habits that we felt like we wanted to implement in January might be falling off at this time. So don't give up, and just, if you feel like it was too much, just do one thing at a time. Have your health in mind, because of course that's my message. And if you don't have your health, you have nothing at all, in my opinion. And just remember that those habits are you're always going to fall back on them, and that we're always constantly working, and that our mental toughness is, we all have to have some sort of mental toughness, and it does get easier to live in that kind of uncomfortable state a little bit. And I could kind of go on and on with this message, and sometimes it's really hard for me to close these, but I just really wanted to talk about those habits, and that we all kind of fall into that, and how important it is to make sure that we have our default habits put in place, and that we take the time to choose wisely. And this kind of is really, right now, this last part of this message is to my online fitness groups, and really if you're in any online fitness group at all, is to make sure that when you start a workout or you start a group training or what have you, is that you pick a time. So my workouts, you can do any time of the day, any day of the week. There's 5 of them, but pick a time that works for you and set it in your schedule. Try it for a few days. If it doesn't work, don't stress out and move it. Okay, move that. But you have to pick a time and commit yourself to that time. Show up for yourself every single day in that small little way, and start adding that onto something else that you're already doing. I love it when I see some of these moms or dads that are, their kids are doing it with them and they do it as an after school activity. That's fantastic. If you're like me, sometimes it's your outlet and you like to do it first thing, or I'll like to do it after I get done working when I work at the heart disease clinic. And so there's different ways that you can do that. So find something that you think will work, and if it doesn't work, reevaluate, but give it a little bit of time. So let's get those habits done. Comment, chime in, all those things. I had a really tough day today, and I'm just so happy that I have that habit, that default habit to go back to, and that I was listening to lots of things, and God laid on my heart to talk about that mental toughness that it does take, and that nobody is completely free of things that they don't need to change. So nobody's perfect. That's all. So anyway, that's my message. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe if you want, and